One of these days, we're going to have an episode around words that you thought you knew the definition to that you don't. Welcome to It's Good to Catch Up. We are Jen
I'm John.
and we are the Peanut Gallery. We're excited to bring you the first of hopefully many of these weekly episodes. What we have coming up today is we're going to get caught up on what's going on in the headlines, what's happening around the world, and then kind of double click on what's happening with Halloween.
Hence
Sound
the
good?
mask.
Hence the mask.
This is the
I would
extent of my adult costume.
I want to say trick or treat, but at this point, I don't have
Why
room.
tempt fate?
Yeah. I I just need the treat. I do. I just need the treat. I don't understand. But
Yeah, exactly.
here we are. Here we are. Did you have a good week?
We were out and about kind of doing things both here and at family property. So it was one of those moments where you're dodging the weather up here because it's been we've been bouncing back and forth between atmospheric river and a nice cold day. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully the rain will hold off for the trick or treaters here in about 5 or 6 hours.
Do you expect
But
to
it's
have
not
trick or
looking
treaters?
good. What?
Will you have trick or treaters at your house?
Oh yeah, we definitely will. Yeah.
I do not live in a posh neighborhood, so my trick or treaters are. Oh, hey there.
Hey,
Um,
zoom out.
hey, let's check it back. I actually have a remote for it too. I We just don't have a lot of trick or treaters, and I may just put up a sign that says "Bah humbug." I don't have any candy because life is tough these days. Although I didn't even buy a pumpkin this year, and I love pumpkin.
Oh, it's funny. Well, since we got my oldest with us right now, like he and I were laughing a couple days ago, and I'm like, oh my god, Halloween's on Friday. He's like, oh, we gotta go buy pumpkins. So like we ran out to the local farmers market, scooped up 5 or 6 pumpkins. He was hard at carving them yesterday, so he's got a
Oh,
nice weapons so he's got the kids with the arms out in silhouette, and he's got the time 217 at the bottom. And we actually had somebody drop off a package here today going, that's a great pumpkin. And I'm like, okay, I will let him know.
do you do you get like a Mr. Potato Head? Do you have external things you put in there, or are you just going at it?
No, it's old school carving. There have been times where I'll like carve the back of the pumpkin and take some parts out and then use it as sort of appendages, like devil horns or something like that. A lot of toothpicks, trying to be as clever as possible.
So let's get into the headlines.
All right.
Wow, layoff, layoff, layoff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What
Yeah. Just kind
is
of, that's par for the course these days, right?
and a government shutdown?
Yeah. We're day 35 or something, I think.
I am so much greed.
Uh-huh.
It's funny because you and I both have worked in tech for such a long time.
Uh-huh.
And I know that this year has been a year of humility and introspection. But I just thought I am now having all the illusions are gone. I really thought more of technology companies. Like I really thought more of Benioff. Don't want to say his name. I just thought, like, wait a minute. Like you have all of these amazing people, and of course you're looking to innovate with technology, but the first thing you do is just cut heads instead of figuring out, do we have people? What is the fungibility of people?
Right. It's very interesting that you bring up that word. So let's put a pin in fungibility. We'll come back to it because I had a very interesting series of conversations with people about that exact word for some very specific reasons because of how it was used this week in somebody's earnings call. But yeah, it's something that you and I have talked about before from the perspective of, the culture of the Valley over the last 30 or 40 years. And it's funny, I literally was having a conversation with a founder no more than an hour ago about this very topic, about this cultural shift. And when you saw sort of the explosion of the Valley in the 80s and 90s especially, and then after the bubble burst and people were building up again, even in the early 2000s, there was still this notion of, hey, we're going to change the world, and not change the world by introducing grander and more, ornate capitalist schemes. It was more like, we are going to fundamentally use technology to make life better for people,
Yeah.
which seems to have kind of fallen by the wayside, especially in the last 5 years, but certainly in the last 10 years, where there's been this primacy of Wall Street and this return of value to the investors, which more and more really feel to be institutional investors. So it's not like you or me and our 4K or the ETFs we hold, or an IRA. It's BlackRock and Vanguard. And some of those big players are like, thou shalt return this type of investment to us. And you've clearly seen that shift, right? So I think that's why you've seen some of these very strong cultural players, like a Benioff, like Satya Nadella, see this shift from away from what they thought were going to be their cultural sort of North Poles to something that is far more numbers driven. And I would argue that's why Ellison is making a comeback, right? Because he was very much like that 20, 30 years ago, right? When he was running Oracle, and before he kind of stepped to the side, and now that model, and you and I have talked about this,
Yeah.
has kind of come back, right? Like, he was the prototype of a tech bro. And this is the age of tech pros, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I look at all the innovation, and I look at all the culture that these guys have created, and these, really amazing bubbles. And then I think you have record profits, and your first thing to do is look at headcount at the end of the year, knowing there is economic instability right now. They've lost their human touch.
Yes.
And I don't know why I thought they had it in the first place. I don't. I think
Well,
I
I mean,
really bought into it. I bought into being a San Franciscan and having these companies originate. That's obviously where you and I, started working together in these very artist driven communities was really what technology was kind of started off as, everybody was getting high, to innovate and create. And you weren't upset about a new person moving to the United States in order to help you build that company.
right, exactly. Well, and because in many cases you were relying upon those people to come help you, right? Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole pod just on the evolution of
Yeah.
Silicon Valley, and
Next.
sort of the shifts of attitude and fate. But I think too, there was this notion that some of these people, they weren't what you thought of as a typical businessman or an entrepreneur, right? They weren't, an East Coast banker or an industrial magnate, or some of the images of people that we saw as we were growing up. They weren't the people that were running Ford or running Coca-Cola or running, GE. They were super smart kids that dropped out of the Ivy League because they loved computers, right? They were not meant to be of the same mold as their parents' generation and what we were taught. And that had a pretty good run, like 20, 25 years. But then it starts to really, take off, make money, impact a bunch of different aspects of life that people didn't expect. And you have people like Bezos, a VP in a hedge fund on Wall Street, doing very well for himself at DE Shaw, suddenly decide, hey, maybe I don't want to be an investment guy anymore. Maybe this other thing, maybe this internet thing is going to be more interesting. And so you get people that come from these other industries that are probably more established and more sort of traditional, come on in, and they bring a lot of their attitudes and assumptions with them. And some of that is good, kind of the adults in the room model. And some of that, is bad and kind of gets us to where we are today.
Yeah. Well, speaking of technology, I was also last week, I think when we were talking, there was an outage at AWS. And
Yeah.
then
And there was an outage at Azure this week. Good times.
what and also, it affected, my Wordle in the morning.
And that's sacrosanct. That's something you do not mess with.
Yeah, no, I think like there doesn't seem to be an eye on pride of ownership.
Mm.
They really are like, even if I look at my time at the Infinite Number Company, so excited to talk about how AI was coming to space and how it could help you. I mean, It helps us with our planning on the podcast.
Mhm.
It was never meant to replace people. It was just meant for you to innovate a little bit
Right.
faster. I mean, I'm sure at some point it was meant to replace people. I mean, but it's not even fully baked.
No, it's not. And it's, um, I mean, you just need to look at some of the books and the articles that are being published today. And, the classics are the AI Con by Bender and Hannah, I think, but also Karen Howe's Empire of AI, right? Which is a deep look into open AI, but is also a pretty interesting survey and a pretty damning survey of, the overall AI industry today. I just find it very interesting how much the two sides of like that AI, attitude battle each other. The whole sort of, hey, this could be damaging. Let's be realistic. Let's find pragmatic solutions to it. Let's prevent people from using AI as therapy because that doesn't exactly seem to be helping people. To this, AI is going to change the world and you're going to see productivity here, there, and everywhere. And everybody in the company has to use, 50% of their time on AI, which more and more companies are starting to mandate. And yeah, there's going to be a stumbling part block or a stumble at some point in this race, and I think it's going to be one of those kind of what is it, the 1,500 meter, wherever they have to run around the track, multiple times, and you get the whole pack together, and somebody trips and it wipes out the entire pack except for like two people, like the guy who is in the lead and the guy who's way in the back.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Did you see anything in the headlines this week?
Oh, I mean, there was a lot going on this week. I mean, you got the government shutdown. You
Mhm.
have Amazon Lane announcing 30,000.
Via text early in the morning.
Yeah, yeah, and,
Dear God,
I reached out to all my friends who thankfully all still have jobs, but,
talk
the
about
fir
a you up text you never wanted.
well, and the funny yeah, there's a whole other conversation there, right? Like, when you look back in '23 when Twitter and Google and a couple of others, I think, were just laying people off with an email saying your access has been shut off, so how can you get the email that says that your access has been shut off? They just Amazon came up with a brilliant, best practice of we'll text people because everybody looks at their phone. Um, but it's once again one of those situations where uh, they're looking for cost efficiencies. They're looking to be performative to Wall Street to say, hey, we're trying to trim the fat. We're supposed to be as efficient as possible. But once again, you see that outlay, that how much you're actually spending on AI versus the rounding error of these layoffs in terms of cap or OpEx for all these people. It's it's a massive disconnect, and Microsoft got in trouble for it earlier this week. They announced great earnings, but they also said, and we're spending this gigantic tonnage of money on AI and data centers. And the market said, yeah, I
Compute?
don't think so. And
Yep.
like dropped their stock by, 20, 30 points at one point. So I think people are starting to wake up that there's a pretty big imbalance between this notion of being performative about AI and layoffs and reskilling or restructuring, what that actually yields. So unfortunately, it's like a 5-act play, and we're only in the second act. So I'm really interested to see what happens over the next 3 acts.
One of my twins, Margaret, was saying to me, she's not really interested in using AI right now
Hmm.
because of the catastrophic effects on the environment.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
I was like, why didn't that come to mind first for me?
Yeah, I've had the same conversation with my kids, right? And they have their objections from a skill set and a creativity set,
Yeah.
and they've got some really, I think, good ethical and behavioral considerations that they want to do or they want to adhere to. And I think it also helped that they're of the generation that some of their teachers and classes were like, look, you got to stay away from this because if I catch you, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And my kids have always been good rule followers. But I think that's something of their generation, right? They are keyed off of the fact of not only what is the personal cost to me, but what is the wider worldly cost. And I'm kind of surprised that they, in general, people are not making more of a big deal about sort of the energy and environmental impacts. You're starting to see some stuff creep up in some some industry, trades and some very specialized media, but they're starting to be cartoons now, like in the New Yorker or the Atlantic, about people discovering they have this huge electric bill and they're living right next to an AI data center, right? And the implication being is the reason you're having this massive electricity bill is because the guy next to you is sucking up
Delivery
all the
charges.
electricity. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of these data centers and the automation of things, the other big layoff news was UPS.
Yeah, that one, I missed that one for days. I don't
I
know how I did, but
so
yeah, what,
this one
42,000 people? Huge number.
because I was looking at the other headlines of the week, the US China tariff truce,
Yep.
government shutdown, SNAP funding, that'll hit us with the Halloween,
Snap funding.
nuclear test threat and catastrophic events, big earnings, tech, AI costs, but it was bringing up China and our current government leaders were over in China this week and trying to figure out how to bring back manufacturing to us. But the only thing you'd bring back is robotics. Like you could bring back manufacturing so that it's here, sure, but you don't actually need people to do that. You need resources and minerals and everything else to do that because the majority of the manufacturing facilities over in China have now become incredibly robotic. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
Well, I mean, they're heavily reliant upon automation, and it's
Yeah.
because the automation is proven, right? I mean, you still see, and I think this is, at least I would hope this is an accurate representation. You still see, like in auto factories or in big manufacturing concerns, you see people working side by side with machines, either manipulating machines, checking the machines, but there's a mix. Like you don't see just a purely automated, nothing but robotics anywhere, unless you're looking at an Amazon warehouse instead of these days, which are terrifying for so many reasons. But yeah, it's the whole manufacturing argument is really hard, right? It's one of those things where you can do it with the best of intentions. You could really want to say, hey, we want to bring something back to your country, but it's not it's not a plug and play thing. It's not like you order a factory and then just unbox it, plug it in and everything goes. Like
Yeah.
the creation of these types of factories and these capabilities outlast presidential administrations, like multiple presidential administrations.
I think it's I think it's a sign of things to come right now. I Because we have Waymo here in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
We have
they're
so
toying
many
around with it up here as well.
I will tell you that Uber won't need to figure out and whatever the other one, Lyft, how they have classified their drivers, whether they're employees or independent contractors. They won't need them in about 5 years. They're going to purchase these fleets, and that's what it's gonna run on, and they're gonna be able to keep 100% of the profits.
Well, and it will.
That's my spidey sense. I wish I had a betting tracker so that I could make more money off of myself.
Well, and that raises some interesting questions because Waymo is trying to make some inroads up here in the Seattle area. Technically, it would be, I think, against state law. Like they'd have to amend state law for basically robo taxis to operate in the way that like Waymo and Uber or Lyft want them to operate. Uh, I think this is my feel. Seattleites in general are going to be more antagonistic towards Waymo than
Mm.
San Francisco was. And it gets back to the cultural element, right? Like
Yeah.
what have you grown used to? What are you willing to accept? I don't know that Seattle's ready for that yet.
I would tell you this, what you're gonna uncover as well, and I'm telling you this because I experienced this in Seattle,
Hmm.
was a guy who said he used his Lyft, whatever, in the morning and
Hmm.
Uber at night in order to get around their time requirement for you
As a driver,
as a driver.
fascinating.
And if you did a double clicking on auditing to see how unsafe it is, I bet you that's the angle they're gonna again, predicting things. Wish I had a betting on myself kind of a thing if that could make money. Awesome. All right, let's
Good
get to the
stuff.
business of Halloween.
Yes. Happy Halloween.
So, I'm gonna take on the business and you're gonna talk about the fun culture side of it. $13 billion. The US is spending $13 billion on Halloween this year.
Yep. and only a fraction of that is candy.
3.9 billion on candy, 13.1 billion overall.
Yeah.
What's the French toast?
Yeah, well, I think it'd be interesting to see sort of.
Is it due to, I mean, is that number inflation or I am genuinely perplexed.
Oh,
I
well, I think
know
well, I
so
think it's
many
a
people
bunch.
are hurting right now. And
I think it's a bunch of different things, right? I mean, certainly inflation. The candy citation I saw was something like 25 to 33% spike in cost of candy because of the current economic situation. But I also think, it'd be interesting to look at the trend lines over time and see what the actual cost is versus inflation or anything else going on. But it's a Friday, you're more prone to more kids going out on a Friday or a Saturday or maybe even a Sunday. You're going to have more adults that are getting things going. Like there were probably a lot more parties that were
yeah.
costume
Oh, you're
themed
right.
and
It is
happy hours
Friday.
last night. And
There
well,
you
yeah,
go.
with like Thursday happy hours because they can work from home on a Friday or sleep off Thursday night on a Friday. You've got the Friday angle, you've got the Saturday angle, and it's interesting. I'd love to see like an anthropologist take on this because I don't remember as somebody in my 20s going to a lot of costume parties on Halloween. Like even in San Francisco, I would say, the decade or so I was there.
Maybe the Castro?
Well, but I mean, there were events, right? Like there are
Yeah.
certain neighborhoods that are having because you expect that from the Castro.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody to say, "Hey, I'm having a Halloween party on Saturday night, and it's costume optional, that sort of thing." I can think of like 3 or 4 times in maybe 10 to 15 years that something like that happened, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Like I'm hearing a lot more people talk about like social events on Halloween weekend. So that's clearly an element to it, right? That's clearly spiking stuff up. But I also think the performative display element has really shot up. A lot more inflatables in people's lawns, the big skeletons that you buy at Home Depot.
Where do you store that? The other 11 months of the year.
Well, that's just it. A lot of people I know that are into that also do the same thing for Christmas or do the same thing for Easter. And I'm like, where's all of this stuff
Lord bless their
going?
heart.
Yeah.
I love seeing it. I love
Yeah, it's
seeing it.
beautiful. It's lovely. It's fun.
You can always tell the renting neighborhood versus the homeowner neighborhood because the homeowner neighborhood has invested in the big stuff.
With it probably within boundaries of the HOA.
I am lucky. I don't live like I live in a very salt of the earth neighborhood.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. I love it. My neighborhood is predominantly senior centers and then like
Oh,
this
right.
big
Sure, yeah.
neighborhood. But if I go one block over, they have a city HOA. Don't do that. Don't need you to see my belly. As soon as it stops
Apparently, you
moving
just
my
have to
fingers there.
motion the right way and you zoom out.
But like it's yeah, they have a city run HOA. And so I was like, I'd get in trouble because
Mm.
I don't I don't do a lot of stuff in front of the house. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I have friends now that I don't know whether it's just because 'cause they're getting older and they're retired and they want something to do, but, like, just progressively more ornate Halloween displays, Christmas displays, and there seems to be I hate to say it, I'm gonna throw off some of our listeners. There's a Venn diagram of people who do that and people who are Disney nuts, and they're more and more they seem to be overlapping fairly severely.
A Disney adult who has the special,
Yes,
like,
Disney
$50,000
adult.
a year pass to go hang
Totally,
out
totally.
with Drew Carey. What is the name of that? We'll do that on a fact check one of these days. That is, by the way, I wish I had the resources and the zen of life to be a Disney adult. I wish everything was going so well that I was like, "I need community." Do. I just, first off, I do need community. I'm alone way too much. But it it it's a rich man's game to be a
Well, it certainly is becoming one. I mean, you just look right now at the cost of tickets to the park, right? Like they're shooting up to like what over $200 for a day. Just some really really high end stakes that are coming to pass. And 10, 20 years ago, especially when I had friends that were very either had kids, little kids, and they were starting their Disney phase. of which we were certainly, a part of that mix. Or they got involved in Disney races because Disney suddenly tapped into this notion of doing, 5Ks and half marathons, and it became a really big thing. Once again, the Venn diagram overlap between people that wanted to run races and people who love Disney just kind of exploded. And it wasn't really, nobody went there going, "Ooh, I'm going to post a PR at the Disney marathon." It's go like, I'm going to dress up like Tinkerbell and run 26 miles. Right. And and it's still clearly a gigantic moneymaker for them. Like I have friends that run several of them every single year. I have one friend that's run the Dopey over in Disney World since its inception. I think she's like one of the last
Congrats.
2,000 people,
Wow.
that have run it like 15 years in a row, stuff like that. But yeah, it's evolved past just sort of, hey, we're fans, or hey, we really like this, to hey, now it's a community, to hey, now it really is a lifestyle. And to your point, it's not a cheap one.
No, I guess I'm looking at how much we're spending on candy and this overall spend. And, one of the lead-in stories is the fact that we are in this government shutdown and we're currently, not to be a downer, but SNAP funding is
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
the topic today, which is how do you release funds that are there but not there, and can we maybe take a step back and try to understand. One, I hope you're getting like a Boston Market kind of a Groupon or something, hand out to certain kids in different neighborhoods if they're really
Yeah.
in. But I just think what a state of ick for me of
Hmm.
saying we have this many people who are perpetually food insecure. We continue to have people spout their Jesus love,
Yeah.
whatever their flavor is. And no one's actually getting to the heart of why do we have this many people who are food
Right.
insecure? And
Yeah.
why do we have this many people who are fearful of healthcare?
And the people that will tell you that, Snap is broken, or Snap is for freeloaders, or Snap is, being abused in some way, shape, or form, either aren't informed or lying. Like, that's just point blank. Like, the data is right out there. It's not hard to find. But they're also the same people that vote against, raising, the minimum wage in their state, or raising the federal minimum wage, or not holding major companies account because they can't, or they not can't, they won't pay a living wage. And so they have vast, numbers of their employees that have to apply to SNAP. I mean, when you think about the companies, what? Oh yeah, I was,
Smart.
we're not going for their sponsorship, right? I'm not going to be an advertiser. But yeah, I mean, 42 million people, right? And the
Yeah.
country's got what, 330? So that's a statistically significant,
And that's just that's the only people who got SNAP. That's not even everybody who qualifies.
right, right.
I
So you've
just
got you've got 42 million people. The stats are like something one out of every five indigenous people are on it. One out of every four children or elderly are on it. It's not like it's a focused niche population. It's a broad swath of America. And we were talking about this yesterday when we were in the car. The Senate gets together, and the Republicans and Democrats just like figure out, hey, we have enough votes to like ask for a continuation of SNAP and get things going. And John Thune won't let it come to a vote. Now, John Thune is from South Dakota. John Thune has 74,000 constituents that are on SNAP. That's 8% of his state's population. And he just said, no, thank you. We're not even going to consider it. And that to me is just mind boggling.
one of these days we're going to have an episode around words that you thought you knew the definition to that you don't. I would like to start with the word Christian. I don't get it. I totally got that one wrong. Totally got that one wrong. Patriot's another one. I gotta figure out what that word means these days.
Yeah, there's definitely been some definitional drift. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I don't know about what it's like down where you are, but I mean, there are like, you know, the Facebook neighborhood pages and the Instagram neighborhood. They're all springing up with here we're starting a mini food pantry, at 51st and Ninth, right? Here are here's here are the schools where they still have need for food. Like, oh, the high school is full up, but these two junior highs still need this, right? And fantastic at a grassroots level that people A can realize, hey, there's a problem and we need to help. B, that they actually can help. But the flip side of that is we're not even we weren't even there yet, right? Like SNAP benefits hadn't even ended yet. And people were like, we know this is going to be so messed up that we have to respond in advance. And that to me is, a red flag right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But to your point, right? Like, look at the churches in your area and which ones are stepping up and which ones are deadly silent. And that gives you a real sense of who's stepping up to play and actually live the definition of what it means to be a Christian.
Yeah. I know they're at the BART station waiting to give you a pamphlet. They're not at my park where we have 3 degrees of unhoused
Mhm.
residents around the park. So, on to a lighter note. Woo!
Well, there's nothing like a weekend where you might be losing SNAP benefits and the candy is probably the most expensive
You're like,
it's
oh,
been in, a generation.
yeah,
Ah,
I had to. I had to.
wow.
All right, I'm going to pass it over to you on costumes, clash, and culture.
Okay. Well, let me start off
Yeah.
with what's the first costume you remember wearing?
Gosh, I think I don't know why I have this idea that I think I was like a strawberry shortcake. I don't know if it's a fever dream or if I actually was strawberry shortcake. I mean, I think I went as like a businesswoman one year. I had my briefcase and everything.
I can see you doing that.
It
Yeah.
was
I
yeah,
think
I was like, I gotta get out of 149 Diamond Street. Get me out of here.
I had to think about this when I was thinking about the questions, and I have a very early memory, probably being about 4 years old. We're still living in Southern California. We were on base for some reason, and I think we were at the PX to do whatever we were going to do, and just really liking a witch's costume, right? So, like, the things you used to buy where it just had the mask and the string behind it. And I didn't know what a witch was. I had no understanding of, like, gender
Sorcery.
assignment or anything like that. But this like green faced monstrous person with a hat was like, yeah, that's it. That's what I want to do. So I think I actually was the first costume I remember was a witch. And then, over time it was like Spider-Man and all the other stuff. But
By the way, memory just came back. I was a flapper. I was a
how
flapper.
old were you?
I wanna say 4 or 6 because my brother had his
Fantastic.
He-Man costume. Maybe I was 7. I
Fantastic.
can picture the picture in my head.
Nice.
Like,
Right.
did you have a broom? I wonder if you thought, like, "I've seen her. I've seen this on The Wizard of Oz."
For me, that could really only be the only exposure. I don't know. It was very weird.
I like that.
What was your of all your costumes, child or adult, what was your favorite?
Oh my gosh. I'm drawing a blank. I just think of my son's costumes now. I don't think of my
That's fair.
costume.
Totally fair. Yeah.
Like,
I
I
remember my kids' costumes much better than I do mine.
yeah, like, for some reason is a blur. I mean, I think in one year, I'm like, did we go as hookers? I mean, like, it was just crazy to be a Gen X. You were just, what were you wearing? You're just like, "Ah, I'm going to be like, what? What? Our parents were just like, looks good to me. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. You got something reflective, you got a flashlight, see when you
Yeah.
get back.
Like, my eldest was born, and I remember us getting like a Batman, like a face, kind of a
Mhm.
costume. He wore that all year.
I bet. Yeah.
All year, like, he would go to the grocery store, and I think we were our doodles. I'm sorry, my dog apparently is trying to figure out how to sniff the carpet. I do know that during our initial time of being a parent
Mhm.
was when we got to be a little bit more lax about letting our kids, like, wear what they wanted to wear and colors they wanted to wear and those kinds of things, but I'm thinking, like, I mean, look, truth be told, that flapper might have been my favorite because it's a secret question that now that the internet already knows everything else. I wanted to be a solid gold dancer.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I was any type of dance, like, I would wear that's what I would have to wear. I would get stuck wearing my whatever the dance recital was from, like,
Mhm.
that June would then if I still fit it, if I hadn't grown too fast, I could, I could put that on though. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh gosh, it's funny how your memory just kind of lapses.
But yeah,
And then I
completely.
can remember like every song to Genesis. Not even in my top 10 of bands, but I know all those songs. Give me some Tears for Fears, like these
Yeah.
guys aren't giving you any original well, maybe they are. I should stop it.
I think they had something recently. Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious. I think mine was it was actually a party in San Francisco. I got invited at the last minute. I had nothing. Like it was literally like 12 noon and the party was at 9 p.m. And I think I took an old sheet, cut a bunch of holes in it, and went as Charlie Brown as a ghost from The Great Pumpkin. Like
I
that
like
was
that.
my most inspired and easiest costume of all time.
Although I will say, I don't know that it would be culturally accepted. Well, yeah, it would be. I think it would be. My parents had a costume one year. My father was a belly dancer. My mother was a sheik.
Oh,
It was, I mean, to be young and in San Francisco, no one gave a shit.
exactly. Yeah. No, I mean that was Tuesday. That was
Yeah, it was but it was my dad dressed up as a woman with this, very Italian hairy chest. It was just, they were
Yeah,
super young.
it'll be interesting to see what we get tonight because we've waxed and waned in terms of a lot of kids in the neighborhood or not a lot of kids. And I think we're back to kind of a lot of kids in the neighborhood. So I'm expecting to see a lot of K-pop demon hunters,
Okay.
both kids and adults. In fact, I know a couple friends are going to a party dressed as members of the Saja band, which is hilarious to me. Probably see some Labubu, might see a couple kids doing the weapons move from the movie. I'm expecting a good number of adult inflatables like Portland Frog or like this seems to be the year for that.
I saw people trying to pitch that on TikTok almost day 2. Day 2 was get your frog through my shop,
Yeah.
link
Oh yeah. Oh
below.
yeah.
The way that commercialization happened so fast,
Hmm.
especially on the mediums and the platforms, you could link in my bio,
Yeah.
link in my bio. And I'm like, what happened? I can't finish a sentence, much less be dedicated to going and finding a
Well, it was funny when that really started to explode in Portland. Not only the frog, but like the next night and the night after, where more people showed up in various inflatables. And then there was like a lending library of inflatable costumes around the corner. So if you wanted to show up and get in an inflatable, but you didn't have one, you could show up, which I thought was brilliant and a very Portland idea. It's just like, that is Portland right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to admit because we had no Kings coming up, and I'm like, all right, let's see what's out there. And I went out and you couldn't get a knockoff frog costume before like November 4th. Like they were going like that. Like your best bet was like find a Spirit Hollywood or Halloween and
Yeah.
pray to God there was something there you could use. But yeah, I think that's what we're going to see tonight. It'll be very interesting
I
to see what trends.
I would love to just culturally appropriate and just be invited to more of like a Dia de los Muertos
Mm,
or those type of events and put carnations in the house, like the orange.
sure, sure.
Are they carnations? What are they? They're orange. The ones are so awesome. Like
So bad with flowers, I couldn't tell
I
you.
I didn't even watch Hocus Pocus this year. I have not gotten into the spirit of anything.
Well, there's been a lot going on, a
Yeah,
lot
there's
to
been more going
distract.
on. What I did do 2 years ago, and I was doing it for a couple of years, was I would have a hot dog stand. I'd bring out my barbecue pit
Nice.
and I would have candy, but I would have like a recharging station for parents.
Mhm.
I had wine for moms or dads if they felt like it. And then I would just make hot dogs and I went to like Smart and Final and I got like the Stouffer's
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mac and cheese.
Right.
And it was great. It was great. And then I realized it was draining because I didn't get any help or like any participation
But
from
yeah,
my.
and you have to be on for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, and I'm a short-term battery these days. My social meter is just like, is it after hours? By after hours, is it over 4 PM? We're not going.
Right.
That's not the way that I can get that. Do you guys have any like special things that you do for trick-or-treaters?
I think not really. I mean, the biggest thing is just making sure we have stuff that kids are gonna want. we've had that conversation before, with my wife and I, with even when the kids when they were little, this whole notion of when we were kids, it was just you got what you got, right? And you'd be sorting through it at the end of the night, going, I don't want that. Like, I don't want Necco wafers, or I don't want candy corn. Not to shame people that like that stuff. If that's what you want, fantastic. You can have my share. So yeah, so when we started doing, Halloween, it was like, all right, let's buy bags of stuff that we know the kids are going to want. Because A, we learned our lesson as kids, and B, we don't want any of this leftover stuff.
Yeah, buy for the assumption that it'll get stuck in your house for the next year.
Right. When that happened, I don't
Yeah,
know about you, but I would just like scoop up the remnants, and we talk with the kids like, hey, is there anything in here that you still want? If they were like, no, it went to work for me. And I put it in the kitchen and it would be gone in a day and a half.
it's nice. Although I'm trying to think, like, I can't eat half of the candy that is out there now because they've
There's
changed,
that.
like, the
Yeah.
ratio of chocolate to whatever it is, like, I don't I don't know if it always did, but, like, anything from Hershey's gives me heartburn.
Hmm.
I'm like, I need something that has, like, a higher chocolate quantity to it, or I don't know what I need. I need water. Definitely need water and collagen water.
That actually would be hilarious. Like giving out bottles of water to like the parents and the chaperones as they're coming by.
Just like, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like giving out, tangerines this year, be like, "Oh, just in case, you don't know where this is going. Have it for tomorrow's lunch if you feel like it." Good grief.
And there's got to be some like scene from a movie or a comic somewhere where like kids are coming in and kids are coming out, and somebody like, oh, she's giving away tangerines this year. Tangerines, oh my god,
I almost okay, one
what
of
is
the
it with this woman in fruit?
it's the witch's house.
I mean, at least give us some almonds for God's sake.
So the one thing I almost ordered, but again, I don't complete stuff these days, was light up finger rings that you
Yeah,
could,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that'd be a great idea." And then I saw, like, the delivery charges for it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks like a terror from China. No, thank you."
I do remember one year we did something like that. I went down to like the local party store. I think I was going for decorations, and they had like a last minute sale on like glow sticks, like, a whole box of like 100 glow sticks. I'm like, well, that's great. We're giving out candy and glow sticks. We're going to be
Yeah,
that house this year.
nice.
And they went like hotcakes. Like, oh, candy's great, but a glow stick? Oh yeah. Kids were kids really like that. And I'm like, all right, well,
What's your
keep
favorite
that in
candy
mind.
bar? Or what was your
I
favorite candy bar as a kid?
that's been pretty well. As a kid, I loved Butterfingers, and I still do. But kind of like you, like I have two of them, and I'm like, no, that's it. I'm done.
What is
It's
the oil in this?
Yeah, it's like there's so much there's so much sugar that your teeth hurt after the second bite. You're like, oh, okay, we're done. I really like almond joys and mounds. It's the coconut. I don't know what it
You
is.
know
It's
what?
yeah.
You just listed my 3.
All right.
I also love a good
This is why I hired you all those years ago.
I also think of I love a good Heath bar, but
Yeah,
I am a
yeah.
weirdo and I will bite the chocolate off and spit it out. I don't want the chocolate. Just give me the Heath.
You just want the hard toffee. Okay, all right.
Yeah, although I do love almond roca, but I think one of my favorite treats you have to go to See's Candy for, and it's the Scotch mallow.
It's so funny you should say that because our my sister-in-law just sent us like a custom, selected box of C's candies for Halloween. And it was definitely something in their family. And they were always going to like, the local C's stores to get like nuts and shoes and stuff like that. And it's good. Like I'll pick out one or two, but yeah, I definitely know the Scotch Mallow.
I just yeah, I if you said, "Hey, I'm gonna bring you some treats," I would be See's Candy, that's it.
Exactly. You're good. You're done.
Just because of, like, I grew up next to, literally next to, okay, not literally, figuratively. I grew up within a mile from the See's factory in South San Francisco.
Wow.
So,
That had to be a temptation.
well, the coolest thing about it was they would have their holiday decorations.
Right.
They'd have the big Santa Claus on
Yeah.
there, and they'd have the Easter Bunny, and you name it, um, and a lot of times C's was also part of our school fundraising.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say,
So
do the door to door stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like, I was always in a school that needed fundraising, and I think that, like, whenever it came to, like, store-bought candy, I would always be like, it doesn't taste the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same." But what is your favorite, like, thing to get when you go to C's? If you got, like, a certificate to go buy something?
Oh my god, I don't
C's
know
are looking for
because it
some
was never
sponsorship.
really aimed at me. Like, it would be one of those things where I would talk to my wife. I'm like, "What do you want?" Right? And be like, "Nuts and shoes," or something like that. It would if it were something, it would probably be something almondy and dark chocolatey because those are my
Yeah,
2 kinda go-tos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, at the airport,
Yeah,
I would especially when I worked for the, infinite number company, and because I would do these LA trips all the time.
sure.
I would pick up the little coffee bits,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'll leave it, who cares?
It's something with your hand
It
motion.
is, it's my hand motion, it's like a hello. Yeah, my little coffee bits, so it was always fun. It was
Yeah.
fun to do that, so awesome. I think we're good. Yay, I think this
Well,
is
I think we need to sidebar because this is an
okay.
important day and week for you.
Oh,
Because
cool.
Florence and the Machine has released their album,
Church
and
was in session. The church was in session this morning.
I wanna
So,
make sure you feel you
I
have that moment.
am so excited because you and I have also touched on, my Swiftie obsession the last few
Yeah.
years, and this is how it all comes full circle. I fell in love with an album from Taylor Swift called Folklore.
Right,
Like, Florence is one of those people that as soon as she puts out the album, it's automatically downloaded.
right.
Her, Sade, John
Yeah,
Mayer, we wanted that's an asterisk with that one, but they're just people who, like, consistently I'm like, "I
yeah,
love whatever
totally.
you're putting out, I'm gonna listen to it." So, one of the things that I really loved with the Folklore album was who she was producing it with.
Mhm,
And it was Aaron Dressner, who's from The National and also part of Big Red Machine and with Bonnie
mhm,
Bear, those guys.
right.
That group that depending on who they're singing with, what's the name of the band, right? Because they
Right,
kind
yeah,
of go in
very
and
much
out
so.
of all those. And so she had partnered with them during COVID to create like the most magical album. I think it's one of her best. I
Mhm,
do think it's one of her best because it's less autobiographical and
mhm,
more musically kind of diverse
yeah,
for me as a person. They are who Florence worked with on this album, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." So it and also Brandy Carlisle
yeah.
was working with them, and so the, Long
She's got a new
Pond.
one out She's got a new one out
Yeah,
as well.
it's
Yeah.
the coven has activated. The
Everything's coming up.
coven has activated. We've got, and then Lily Allen's.
Yeah,
Have you heard?
you mentioned that, and I did not have a chance to go dive into that, so that's still on my list.
I mean, I do not wanna be his publicist right now as they're about to go out for Stranger Things. If you listen to, I can't say it because we've actually been really good without swearing. I think it's track 7 or 8. It's the Pea Palace.
Mhm,
Pea
yeah,
Palace.
gotcha, gotcha.
Uh-huh. If you listen to the beginning of it, it has the Stranger Things like and then she'll use the word stranger very
Mhm.
specifically in the song.
Alright.
Love a woman scorn. Bring it. I'm sorry that that happened to you, but
If it
yay.
makes good art,
I
right. Yeah,
mean, good grief.
yeah. If you can bounce back from it and use it, then fantastic.
My good I mean, who else was coming out with music this it was like everybody. You've got Demi Lovato, I haven't listened to,
Yeah,
like
I saw a review, but I haven't heard it yet.
I'm excited. I think I'm excited for her music because she's not doing any autobiographical stuff right now. She's doing
Mhm.
more like fun stuff. And knowing what that girl's been through, I'm like, get it.
Yeah.
Get some happiness. So what are you looking forward to this week?
Oh my goodness. We're starting to line up, like, the last details for our trip out to New York, so we're gonna go out and visit
Nice.
my youngest there, spend Thanksgiving with some family. I'm
Nice.
gonna hang out with some of my old high school friends that are still there, and of course, because we are a theater family and we are seeing at least 2 different shows.
Ooh,
So we've got tickets for Chess, which is one of my all-time favorite, like, albums. So I'm really curious. I've never seen it staged, and I'm really excited to see what they do.
I
I've
don't even
heard
know
really
this.
good
I have to look that
things.
one up.
So, comes out in the '80s. You know the song "One Night in Bangkok"?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's from that. So 2 of the guys from ABBA, and Tim Rice, somebody else, I think, come up with this whole concept album that's basically a musical about, the, 2 specific competitors between the US and the Soviets back when, like, the chess thing was a big deal. Great album, loved it forever. They've tried to stage it a couple times on Broadway in the West End. It's been okay. Somebody came back and reworked the whole thing. So now it's like Leah Michelle and 2 other guys, and the previews have been good. So I'm very excited about that. We're also going to see Operation Mincemeat, which I've heard nothing but good things about. And I'm going to try and get to see Waiting for Godot, but we'll see. Actually, it
Oh,
should be
okay.
Waiting for Gadot, but whatever. Yeah, so it'll be
Yeah.
fun. So that's like what we're kind of sliding towards as we head into November. What about you?
I think I'm taking my grandfather for a walk along the Embarcadero this weekend.
Mother,
Is the
it's
weather
beautiful.
down in the Bay Area has been gorgeous.
Yeah, you guys have had great weather.
Yeah, and Dee was saying down in the Hollywood Hills it was like 90 something this week, and I was like,
But
"Oh,
yeah,
not interested in that heat." But
yeah, it's been a little warmer everywhere than I think people were expecting. I've got friends that are down in Palm Springs, and it's still in the mid 90s there right now, which is starting to get a little warmer than people were expecting.
not yeah, not ideal for those of us who would like to, make sure our roses are looking okay. Actually, that is what I'm doing. I'm working on, the, roses. I have collected all these roses. I had them in, like, bags,
Hmm.
like, trying to grow bags, and I have just decided in my front lawn to plant about 14 of them. I think 9 of them planted so far,
Nice,
and they are blooming. They look like you're going into Disneyland. Like, some of them are so beautiful and the different colors that they have, and
right?
it's really fun. So,
Very good.
well, if you like this, subscribe, check in with us later. But this was fun, John. Can't wait to
Absolutely.
again next week.
Good to catch up. Bye.